watching.
Subscribe.
Hello, you're watching ScreenStalker. My name is Chopper Pete Quinnell, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe because Avengers Endgame is nearly upon us. Considering so far there's a total of 21 movies included in the MCU, with Avengers Endgame set to become the 22nd, there's a lot that's happened. If you don't feel like watching all 21 movies again, or maybe you just wanted to and ran out of time like I did, then this recap is for you. With that said, let's take a look at the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe so far in 10 minutes. Phase 1. Iron Man in 2008. The first movie in the MCU introduces us to Tony Stark, who's basically a rich inventor who's made his money off creating and distributing weapons of war. After he gets kidnapped and is forced to make one of these weapons for terrorist group the 10 Rings, he instead creates a gigantic suit of metal and stuff and escapes. After that, he makes more suits and constantly upgrades them, becoming Iron Man in the process. Also, Nick Fury turns up and name drops the Avengers for the first time. The Incredible Hulk in 2008. Just 1 month after Iron Man, we were treated to The Incredible Hulk, which featured Bruce Banner being the Hulk and overcoming another dude who was turned into a different Hulk. There's not much to this movie in all honesty, but we got the introduction of Ed Norton as the Hulk. I'm sure that'll last. Iron Man 2 in 2010. In the sequel to Iron Man, Tony Stark overcomes Whiplash, and in the process he also stopped some sort of self-poisoning, created a new element, and we were introduced to both Black Widow and War Machine. It was okay. Thor in 2011. 2011 saw the introduction of Thor, the Norse god of thunder who is banished from his homeland for being a tool and has to earn the right to wield his power. Meanwhile, his brother Loki is commanding rule over Asgard, and it turns out he's a bad boy. We see Hawkeye for a little bit, but he does a whole lot of nothing. Thor destroys the Rainbow Bridge and Loki drops into the abyss of doom, never to be seen again, until the end credit scene, where we see the very first Infinity Stone in the form of the Tesseract. Captain America, the first Avenger in 2011. Speaking of the Tesseract, it's all over this movie. Steve Rogers is just a kid from Brooklyn, but takes some superhero steroids to become super buff and awesome. After taking on the Nazis, he comes across Red Skull, who possesses the power of the Tesseract. On one of Cap and crew's Nazi attacks, Cap's best friend Bucky falls off the side of a train and down a cliff, so he's definitely dead and will never be seen again, right? Eventually, Cap overcomes Red Skull, who is transported away somewhere via the power of the Tesseract, and Cap puts the plane they were fighting on in ice-capped water to ensure the safety of some people from bombs or something. It was a bit weird. But yay, Cap wins! The Avengers in 2012. The first MCU movie to gross over $1 billion, and deservedly so. The entire crew of Iron Man, Black Widow, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, and Hulk team up to take on Loki, who has been gifted a scepter with a crazy amount of power. Loki has recruited the Chitauri as well, so he's got a whole alien army on his side. After a whole bunch of shenanigans and fights and stuff, Loki is defeated and the Chitauri drop dead after a nuke is sent directly through the wormhole they came from. Way to go, Mr. Stark. The Avengers are here, and everyone on every planet should be scared of them, including this random purple guy who shows up in the end credit scene. No idea who that could be. Phase 2. Iron Man 3 in 2013. The culmination of the Iron Man trilogy saw Tony Stark take on his greatest rival, the Mandarin, sort of. After being built up brilliantly through video packages throughout the film, it was all a swerve, as the guy impersonating him was merely an actor, with the true Mandarin being revealed to be a guy Tony had annoyed a long time ago. That guy now creates super soldiers with something called extremists, and it also blows people up or something. It's pretty wild. Eventually, Stark overcomes Aldrich Killian, yes, that is his name, through the power of all his Iron Man suits, ingenuity, creativity, and Pepper Potts. Mainly Pepper Potts. Tony then blows up all his suits as a gesture of goodwill because reasons. Thor: The Dark World in 2013. The second installment of Thor goodness saw him begrudgingly team up with Loki to face the greater threat of the Dark Elves, who attempt to take control of something called the Ether, which is eventually revealed to be the second Infinity Stone. The Dark Elves are beaten, the Ether is stored away with the Collector, and everyone continues about their business. Yay! Captain America Winter Soldier in 2014. Now we're talking! This movie cemented Cap as a fan favorite, with him just being generally super awesome and rad. He weeds out an infiltration of Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D. itself, causes the entire thing to collapse, stops airships that would kill basically everyone, and all the while he's making out with Black Widow and introducing Falcon to everyone. What a guy! The primary villain of the movie is revealed to be a puppet that's actually brainwashed to do the actual villain's bidding. That puppet in question is none other than Bucky, and he and Cap have have a back and forth about being good or not and whatever. The Winter Soldier is born. Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. Yet another home run for the MCU as they introduce us to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot all team up to cause shenanigans and hilarity wherever they go. We learn that Gamora is the daughter of the Mad Titan Thanos, who also turns up to lecture Ronan on his responsibilities and stuff. This is the first time we hear Thanos speak in the MCU. We're introduced to yet another Infinity Stone in the movie, this time the Power Stone. We learn more about the Infinity Stones and their power via the Collector, who explains what they are and what each of them roughly look like. Neat! Ronan looks to have the power to wipe out a planet, but luckily the Guardians stop him before he can execute his plan. Avengers Age of Ultron in 2015. Stark and Banner unintentionally create Ultron, which threatens to take over basically everything. They drop the entire city of Sokovia on itself in order to take out Ultron. Through the course of the movie, we're introduced to Vision, who is created combining another Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone, and the power of Jarvis and Thor's lightning. We also get to see Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for the first time, but Quicksilver is killed protecting Hawkeye and a child. In the end credit scene, we see Thanos threatening to do it himself. Nothing wrong with a bit of DIY. Ant-Man in 2015. Scott Lang takes us to the world of espionage, and while it may seem like a basic origin story with not much overarching world building or important Avengers story beats, he does enter and return from the quantum realm during the course of becoming Ant-Man, which could prove to be important moving forward. Phase 3, Captain America Civil War in 2016. Hot damn how great this is. We get all the Avengers, but not in an Avengers movie. Nice. The entire crew infight about their greater responsibility within the world and being accountable for their actions. Cap tracks down Winter Soldier and gets him on side, but in the process makes himself a wanted man. Eventually everyone hashes it out, but Cap and his little crew remain criminals by the end of the movie. While again it seems like nothing major happens in terms of overarching world building, Rhodey does end up paralyzed and everyone's perspectives of each other change and grow. Also, we're introduced to Black Panther and Spider-Man, so there's that. Doctor Strange in 2016. We're introduced to another Infinity Stone, as the Time Stone is the centerpiece of this movie. Dr. Stephen Strange goes through a spiritual journey and emerges out of the other side with all sorts of wacky and trippy powers. The big bad boss he has to face succumbs to the time loop that Strange creates with the Time Stone, and so the day was saved. Pretty important stuff here, as Strange is now the protector of the Time Stone. Let's see how that goes. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in 2017. The second installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy saw us explore deeper into Star-Lord's past, discovering his father, who turned out to be a pretty bad guy. He was the one who planted the cancer within Star-Lord's mother all those years ago, so the Guardians destroy him. The crew gain a Mantis and put their past with Nebula behind them, as she becomes a Guardian herself. Yondu unfortunately bites the dust, but he's super cool in the process, so that's okay. Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. Spider-Man's first movie within the MCU took a look at Parker's home life and his discovery of his responsibilities as Spider-Man. A fun battle ensues against Vulture, who is threatening to steal the entirety of the Avengers' stuff. Naughty man. Iron Man is featured heavily here as Parker's mentor and guide, which makes a whole bunch of sense, honestly. Fun. Thor Ragnarok in 2017. Hey, so you know how Thor is this posh, brooding, blonde, generically epic hero? Yeah, let's turn all of that on its head. Thor Ragnarok took everything we knew about Thor and flipped it into an outrageously funny comedy that has no right to be as good as it was. Hulk shows up on another planet because he's Hulk and he's super great. We're also introduced to Valkyrie, who steals the show alongside Thor himself. Thor's evil sister Hela, the goddess of death, takes over Asgard pretty handily. Whoops. The only way to stop her is Ragnarok, which Thor, Loki, Hulk, and Valkyrie begin. The troop flee on a ship as Asgard is destroyed. Black Panther in 2018. This movie introduced us to the hidden world of Wakanda and all the crazy goings on within it. We see T'Challa, who becomes the king of this land after his father's untimely passing in Civil War. Unfortunately, Killmonger wants that rule for himself, which he gains by besting T'Challa in the ritual of combat Wakanda employs. Black Panther's team come back through and stop him in his tracks before any irreversible damage is done though. Winter Soldier's been taken for recovery in Wakanda and awakens at the end of the movie. Avengers Infinity War in 2018. Thanos. This is Thanos' movie. After threatening and being a lurking presence for 6 years, Thanos makes his presence felt pretty quickly. After attacking Thor's ship, Killing Loki and retrieving the Space Stone from the Tesseract, he moves on to obtain the rest of the stones. He does so, with him destroying the Collector's home to retrieve the Reality Stone, killing Gamora under the guidance of a returning Red Skull to retrieve the Soul Stone, and besting a motley crew of Avengers to take the Time Stone. The last on his list is the Mind Stone, which is embedded in Vision's head. Unfortunately for the Avengers, he manages to get the Mind Stone, killing Vision. Since he has now accumulated all the Infinity Stones, he does what he said he was going to do, and he does the dreaded snap of the fingers and wipes out 50% of all living creatures in the universe. Thanos wins. Ant-Man and the Wasp in 2018. Not to detract from these next two movies or anything, but stepping back from what Thanos just did to have a funny little romp and an origin story is hard to do. Nevertheless, Ant-Man and the Wasp maintains its sense of fun while peppering in key story points throughout. Heavily focused around the quantum realm and its effects, the story takes a look at the lost wife of Hank Pym, Janet, and attempts to retrieve her, which they eventually do. Before they can begin harvesting energy from the quantum realm though, Pym, Hope, and Janet disintegrate from Thanos' snap, while Scott is inside the quantum realm. Ouch. Captain Marvel in 2019. Captain Marvel explores the journey of Carol Danvers to find herself and her purpose, which she does by the end of the movie. She unleashes herself to become the most powerful Avenger, Thor and Hulk, with her powers being born courtesy of the Space Stone via the Tesseract. She turns up in an end credit scene to join whoever remains of the Avengers for the next fight. Avengers Endgame in 2019. And now we're here, Avengers Endgame, the culmination of an 11-year journey through 22 films, 44 hours and 48 minutes of screen time, and a whole lot of fun. I can't wait. So that was the entirety of the MCU so far in about 10 minutes. Let me know if you're excited for Avengers Endgame by leaving a comment down below. Press the thumbs up, subscribe, enable notifications, and click the videos on my right to be taken to even more ScreenStalker content. I've been Pete Quinnell, and as is most definitely the case with Avengers Endgame, we're watching.